you'll be responsible for advising the rest.
Judge, all state witnesses present are in that witness room right now.
Can we bring the witnesses out? Hank, please. Just line them over by the wall. Hank, just line them over by that back side wall there. Keep them separated, please. Good morning, members of the jury. Are there any matters that need to be addressed to the court before we begin this morning from any juror? All right, the rule of sequestration has now been invoked, and there's some witnesses over to the left here that I'm speaking to now. The rule requires that you not be present here in the courtroom or view or listen to any of the proceedings until you've either been lifted from this specifically by the court or the case has been concluded. The rule also requires you not discuss the case with anyone, that includes fellow witnesses or anyone else, until its conclusion. There is an exception to that. If you do wish to discuss it with any of the attorneys, you can do so as long as it's in private and outside the presence of anyone else. Those of you that on the jury here, you can see the witnesses that are currently present. The witnesses that are present can see the members of the jury. So try to avoid having any contact, even incidental contact, till the case has been concluded. And counsel for the state and defense will be ordered to advise the witnesses that are not now present of the order of the court regarding the rule of sequestration. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Thank you. You can go back in the witness room. Do you want to call your first witness?
Raymond Goller.
I get you to raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have a seat, please, in our temporary witness stand. If you would please, sir, try to keep your voice up nice and loud.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may inquire, Mr. Weed.
Thank you. Please state your name. Raymond Galler. And Mr. Galler, where do you work? Handy House Portable Buildings. All right. In Lake City. All right. And is that a place that sells metal sheds or metal buildings? Yes, sir. All right. And what street is it located on in Lake City? Highway 90 and Domino's Way. All right. Is there a pawn shop next door to your business? Yes, sir. And what's the name of that pawn shop? Really don't know. Okay. Pawn shop. All right. Does Empire Pawns, does that sound
That's
familiar?
it.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let me ask you, I want to take you back to Saturday, April 18th of 2020. Are you familiar with that date? Yes, sir. All right. Did you see anything suspicious while you were at work at Handy House Portables? About 1 o'clock-ish, 12:45 to 1 o'clock. I normally don't work every Saturday, and I just stopped in there to move some buildings and seen a suspicious car pull in, turn around, back up where cars don't park in our parking lot. And gentleman got out, approached my office because we keep the door open on Saturday so it can air out. And I was out there on the lot moving buildings around, moving sheds around, repositioning them on the lot. And I could see he was keeping a distance from the front door. Just weird. Didn't act like a regular customer would approach the office and go in. And then I noticed a lady in the car, but when they pulled in, they didn't pull straight in and park. They turned around and backed in. It's very odd to me, so I unhooked from the building, drove up there, and the gentleman that had yelled something in the office started walking towards the pawn shop. There's a side door. So I pulled up behind him as he was walking away, looked at him, got out, looked at the car. The lady that was driving turned her head around, very suspicious, just very odd. So I walked inside, told my employee to just stay aware, walked back out to my truck, turned around, got the tag number off the car, went to approach the car. I texted it to her so she would have it in case something happened. Went to approach the car, and the girl noticed I was coming, and she fled off and drove around and left. All right. And did you see which direction she drove towards? Yeah, she went out my parking lot, went right in front of my business into the parking lot of the pawn shop over there. Okay. All right. And so if I understand you correctly, there was a male and a female? There was actually 2 males and a female. Okay. One male in a camouflage jacket went up towards the sidewalk and went walking towards the pawn shop, and the other one that was in a multicolored shirt that was yelling in, taller fella, just turned around and walked straight in towards the side door, which they got cameras and everything, so. Right. And when you say they have cameras, you're referring to the pawn shop? Yes, sir. Okay. All right. You said there was one one male with a camouflage jacket? Yes, sir. All right. Could you describe him? Yeah, he was short, stockier, about my build, maybe black fella, we went through the ditch in between the buildings up to the sidewalk and started walking towards the pawn shop. And from the view from where I was, he walked out of sight in front of the pawn shop. But when I pulled up there, he was out of sight. When I pulled up where I could see Highway 90 frontage, he was already out of sight. So. And the male without the camouflage jacket, and I believe you described a multicolored shirt, could you describe him? Yeah, he's a taller, 6-foot, black gentleman with the mask on. Okay. And the female that was driving, could you describe her if you got a look at her? I could see from her head up, but it was a white girl, kind of 80s style cut look from through the window. But I mean, I was looking at her through the back window. When I pulled up, her car was here. I pulled under some carports, got out of my truck, got the tag number, texted it inside, walked in, told them be, hey, just be on alert. Went back, got my pistol out my car, out my truck, put it in my pants, went inside, made sure the deposit and everything was hid. Went back out, put it back in my truck and went to approach the car, and she fled.
Okay, all right. Now, you said that you got the tag number. What was the tag number that you got?
Can I get my phone?
Yeah, would that refresh your memory?
Yeah. I texted it to.
Just one second. There's an
Sammy
objection to
St. John's.
Hold on, just one second. There's an objection to hearsay. Response from the state.
Your Honor, it's just refreshing his recollection, plus the witness testified that he recorded recollection recorded.
Did you have access to the view of this device that he's about?
That's all right. I think I remember it.
Hold on, one
Okay.
second. Okay, wait 1 second. Did you have access to? All right. Okay, if you want to, whatever he's going to use, if he is, to refresh his memory, show it to Mr. Collins first, please.
All right.
Just for the record, there was not a memory issue at the time, so that would be a problem. Which is another way of trying to get the hearsay.
Well, if he's going to use that device, show it to Mr. Collins first, what he's going to look at. He is entitled to.
Do you remember it, the tag number?
I believe so. I mean, I'm close enough.
Okay, all right. Well, first, tell us what you do remember.
I got the tag number. I sent it to Sammy St. John.
No, I mean, as far as the tag number.
Oh, I think it was N1C 144 or something like that.
All right.
It's been a long. I mean, it's been a minute.
Okay. All right, would it help you to refresh your recollection and look at the text you sent yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it would, because I texted it to Sammy St. John's and Buddy Williams.
Yeah, all right. You want to look at the,
Yes, if you want to retrieve whatever it is he's going to look at, let Mr. Collins see it. Oh, hold on, whoa, 1 second. Do you have the device?
I got my phone, yes, sir.
Okay, if you'll just pull up what you're going to look at and show it to Mr. Weed. Mr. Weed, you can show it to Mr.
I'm just going to show pull up a text to Sammy St. John's.
Understand.
I apologize. I sent him NCQ 144.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter if they was digging out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said
I just asked you to pull it out and show it to Mr. Weed.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you want both of them to see it.
Did you still want to see it, Mr. Collins?
okay. All right, and you said that you sent that to St. John's?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and why did you send it to, and who is it that you sent it to?
Sammy St. John's and Buddy Williams. Saturday, when all that stuff happened, I guess shortly after the shooting that happened here in Live Oak, or whenever that occurred, I don't Facebook, so somebody sent me a picture of Facebook post of a shooting that happened, and I seen the car, recognized the people, and it said searching for, so I sent it to them what I had, because they were in my parking lot, and I sent it to them saying, hey, check this out, because all the description, the silver car, everything matches up. It's got to be. So I sent it to them to see if that would help them break a case for the guy that got shot.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. No more questions.
All right. Cross-examination. Remember to clean your area there, Mr. Weed.
I'll do it, John. My name's Dave Collins. I'm Mr. Taylor's lawyer. I want to ask you some questions about your answers from the state's questions. What exactly, because I might not have understood it, was the behavior that you observed from each one of these folks? Exactly what were they doing that caused you to take the tag number at that time and send it later?
I thought my office was about to be robbed.
Okay, but what was the behavior they did? I understand that's what you thought, But it wasn't robbed, was it?
No,
In
no,
fact, there was no activity of any type of crime that you observed, was there?
not at my location,
No.
sir, but they acted very suspicious to me.
Okay, I understand, but I want to make sure your testimony is clear. What was the behavior that was suspicious? They didn't commit any crimes. What was the behavior exactly, each one?
Very irregular than any other customer.
No, I don't want your opinion. I'm going to describe what they did.
Their vehicle, their silver vehicle, the car that both or all three people were in, pulled into my driveway, done a turn around, and backed in, tucked behind buildings, 8 parking spots over here to the right. They turned in, backed in here, tucked in away from Highway 90 behind buildings, raised suspicious from me, got out, addressed my office,
What do you address? Explain that if you could, please.
speaking through the door with the door opening, did not approach like regular customers do to go into purchase buildings. Yelled, "We're going to play or go into the pawn shop. We'll leave."
So, I understand the way that you said that you observed them park, but I want to be clear. And then one of them, do you remember who it was that yelled into your office?
Taller gentleman with the multicolored shirt.
Okay. He had a mask on?
I'm not calling it a mask. I'm calling it a facial covering, neck type deal.
Okay. He yelled into your office did you hear it?
I heard 3/4 of it
Okay.
from,
Well,
let's say, 40, 50 yards away.
And if I understood you correctly, he was telling you, hey, I'm going to park here. We'll only be there for a minute because we're going to go into the pawn shop, correct? That's what you just said.
Yeah.
Is that true?
100%. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I understand the way you saw him park. A lot of people back in places. I know you're concerned about where and not using the parking spaces.
Not in my
I
parking
understand
lot, they
that.
don't. Not in my parking lot, they don't. They pull in and they back out and they leave.
Nobody has ever backed into a parking space at your business?
Very few.
How do you know that? Do you have a security camera that you monitor the parking lot and continually observe?
No, sir, I work there and I observed almost every customer. I'm prime salesman there. I sell about 20 people a day there, and the odds are in that favor of pulling straight in like a normal human being backing out. And it makes me mad because when they back in, because of the simple reason is over there, the only place to turn around, the number of customers that have normally hit my buildings and cause damage.
Yeah. And then they tell you exactly, they bring attention to themselves, they yell in and tell you what they're doing, and they go into the pawn shop. One of them does, the multicolored shirt person. And your pawn shop is equipped with video surveillance, isn't
I
it?
don't have a pawn shop.
Oh, I'm sorry, what is it?
What is my place of business? Shed location.
Oh, correct, I'm sorry. I get confused sometimes.
Understandable, you're human.
But they tell you where they're going.
No, they told the person inside my office.
You heard them.
I overheard it.
So they told two people, or at least they addressed what two people could hear.
No, I overheard their conversation.
Okay. So the employee of yours talked with the person in the multicolored shirt.
No,
Okay.
they listened to what he said and walked off.
And then you overheard that. Okay. So the person in the multicolored shirt was loud enough not only to let your employee know what his intentions were, but you overheard it too.
Either that or I got real good hearing, yes, sir.
We overheard it. Okay. It was,
You're asking me a question, I'm answering it.
okay. When did you send the tag number to Mr. St. John? Do you recall?
A few days after Saturday. If I can look at my phone, I can remember. it.
Sure, if you don't know, it refreshes your recollection. Okay?
Is everybody good with this?
Go ahead.
Okay. Wednesday, April 22nd at 12:08.
Okay?
He responded at,
I don't need what he responded.
Okay.
I didn't ask you that. That's hearsay, okay?
I apologize.
Just please try to understand the question. I want to make sure I got your testimony on direct correct. When the state asked you about descriptions of two persons that were associated with this vehicle, you said there were three, two black males and a white female, is that correct?
Yeah.
And you indicated one of them was short, stocky, your build. How much do you weigh?
On a good day, about 240.
And 5'9"?
Yeah,
Taller or shorter?
about, let's say 5'10". I don't, really and truthfully, ID might say 5'10", 5'11", something like that.
Okay.
5'9".
5'9"? Okay. Well, I'm 5'9".
We're probably about the same height, same hairstyle too.
It's very efficient. Your Honor, I would request permission to have the witness stand up and I stand next to him.
That's fine. Go ahead, you can stand.
So, I don't know, are you taller? I don't know, I can't tell.
We got a jury, you want to know this side? I don't know, I'm taller than you.
You're a lot heavier too.
240, 250.
Yeah, 178. So this person then would be short, stocky, like you, and he was wearing a camouflage jacket, and the person in the multicolored shirt was much taller. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes, sir.
no further questions.
All right. If you'll sanitize your area there, Mr. Collins. And is there redirect from the state? None. All right, you may step down. May this witness be excused.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any objection? You're free to go, sir. Thank you. Call your next witness.
Foster Saperstein.
Raise your right hand, please, to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Thank you. Have a seat, please. Try to speak into the microphone. Keep your voice up for us, please. Thank you.
Okay.
May inquire.
Please state your name.
Foster J. Saperstein,
And where do you work?
Empire Golden Pawn.
All right. Are you the owner of that business?
No,
Do you work there?
yes.
All right. Who else works there?
My daughter is the owner and my son, and we have a store manager.
Oh, okay. All right. And where is Empire Ponds located? What city?
Lake City,
And what street is it located on?
US 90.
All right. Is there a business that sells metal sheds or metal buildings next to yours?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, were you working on April the 18th, Saturday, 2020?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall a black male coming into your business wanting to sell something?
Yes, sir.
All right. And was there anything particular about this black male that caught your attention?
His jewelry,
Okay. And what kind of,
sneakers.
his jewelry and his sneakers?
Yes, sir.
All right. What about his jewelry?
He had a nice medallion,
All right.
hanging on a chain.
Okay.
Kind of caught my eye.
And what was he doing in your store?
He came in asking if we wanted to purchase a ring.
Okay. All right, what kind of ring?
Diamond ring.
All right. Was there anybody with this blackmail?
There was another man and eventually a female.
All right. And the other man, could you describe him at all or what he was wearing?
Black mask, face
Right.
masked out was pretty much it.
All right. And the female, I don't know if you said it, was she a white female?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So did you end up interacting with the black male with the medallion?
Yes, sir.
All right. And did he show you the ring?
Yes, sir.
Did you end up buying the ring?
No, sir.
And after it turned out you weren't going to buy the ring, was there any more interaction with the black male? Or
No.
okay. All right. Now, do you have video cameras in your business?
Yes, sir.
And did you have them there, video cameras at April 18th?
Yes, sir.
Date of this incident? All right. Do you have, are there one camera or more than one camera?
Multiple.
Multiple cameras? All right. And did the cameras actually record the video onto some kind of device?
Yes, sir.
All right. And have you ever had any problems with this video system before?
No.
Has it always accurately recorded events in your store?
Yes, sir.
All right. And does it have a date and timestamp on the video?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is that accurate as far as you know?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, did law enforcement officers come and retrieve the video from your store on April 18th?
Yes, sir.
All right. And did they retrieve the video of this encounter you just described with the black male with the nice medallion?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you edit or change the video before it was given to law enforcement?
No, sir.
All right. Do you even know how to edit or change
sir.
videos? All right. Now, if I may approach, Your Honor,
You may.
I want to show you State's Exhibit 9A and ask if you recognize it.
Yes, sir. That's my signature, my initials.
State's Exhibit 9A is a flash drive. Did you view the videos that are on this flash drive?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are the videos on this flash drive true and accurate videos from April 18th of 2020 that depict your pawn shop and the interaction you had with this black male?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 9A be entered and published.
Any objection to 9A?
I just need to come back.
Brief?
Very
Okay. Sir. Objection then? All right, 9A will be admitted without objection, and you may publish it to the jury.
That's our side door, and right next to it is the sheds, where they sell sheds.
In the upper left-hand corner of the shed business?
Yes, sir.
Who is that that's walking into the, where's the entrance?
That's the young man that showed me the ring.
And the person who walked in behind him, was that the person that was with him?
Yes.
What are we looking at in this frame?
That would be the side of our store.
This inside your store?
Inside, yes, sir.
And where is the entrance that we just viewed in the previous frames?
Right on the left where that shredder, the red shredder, that's the entrance, yes, sir.
Who's that that just walked in?
That's the young man who showed me the ring.
Is that the same young man with the nice
With the,
hat?
yes,
And who's that that walked in behind him?
his buddy, I would gather.
Excuse me?
That's his buddy.
The person that was with him?
Yeah, I would say it's his buddy, yes.
What are we looking at in this frame?
That's our main entrance.
Your Honor, I'm going to object, I need to come to court.
What's the ground?
Relevance, and I could explain it. Relevance.
All right, counsel, please. All right, the objection's overruled.
Mr. Saperstein, so I don't know if you answered the question, but what is this?
Yes, sir, that's our front door, our parking lot and our front door is right on the left, under the canopy.
Now, did you see a female that was with the black male with the mask medallion?
Yes,
Overruled.
yes, sir.
Did you see her, was objection leading?
Let him finish the question. Go ahead.
Where did you see her?
In the parking lot, she pulled her car up and kind of blocked the main entrance. And then she pulled in and parked the car and then walked into the shop. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the car that the lady was driving. That's the side where we keep our guns. And in front where Robert is, there's two cases where we keep our jewelry. Yes, sir.
that you interacting with the black man?
Yes, sir.
Having trouble hearing you, Mr. Weed, when you get away from the microphone there. Try to keep your voice up.
And who is that in the center screen with just,
That's the girl that was driving the car.
all right, thank you, sir. No more questions.
Thank you.
You'll sanitize your area there, Mr. Collins, then you may cross-examine the witness. Thank you.
Mr. Saperstein, are
Yes, sir.
you aware of other video coverage that more prominently displayed the person you called the buddy who was in a camouflage jacket?
Did we have any other? I don't believe so.
Okay. You had a chance to observe both of those people together, correct?
Yes,
And isn't it true the person in the camouflage jacket was actually taller than the person in the multicolored shirt?
it could have been.
Could have been.
Yes, sir.
And he was rather, how would you describe his build or his weight?
Kind of slim,
Yes.
you know, a little taller and slim.
Okay. How many discs did you provide the state that were captured on the videos of these three people? We saw a little bit of him, the guy in the camouflage. We saw a little bit of the lady. And then I timed it. We saw, and if you disagree, you tell me, we saw 2 minutes and 50 seconds, 0.71 of the person in the multicolored shirt, and of those, 1 minute and 5 seconds of you and him directly looking at each other. Would you disagree with that?
No, that sounds right.
Okay. And you're not aware of any more footage that covered the man in the camouflage jacket?
When the detectives came in to view the footage, my son was there.
Okay.
I was not in the shop.
Is it fair to say you sent him what you had?
Yes.
Okay. And when you say buddy, that's just a term phrase. You don't know their
Yes,
relationship.
his friend.
Yeah. Did you remember having any recollection of seeing the person in the camouflage jacket closer with the lady that you say was the driver of the car? Because they were in the store.
Yes, I would say he was more towards with her.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if we have other video coverage of him, I guess we'll just have to look at the rest of the video, I guess. Was you-
Whatever's available, yes, sir. Sure.
No further questions. Thank you.
Any redirect? You may step down. Thank you, sir. If you wouldn't mind, just grab that bottle and just spray around your area where you were, and Mr. Collins or Mr. Weed, before you get back to the mic there, clean up for us. Thank you. And may this witness be excused? Yes, sir. All right. Any objection?
No objection.
You're free to go, sir. Thank you. Call your next witness, please.
John Jackson?
I get you to raise your right hand, please, to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You have a seat in the witness stand for us, please. And you may examine the witness.
Please state your name, sir,
John Martin Jackson.
and your occupation.
I'm an analyst with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement in Tallahassee.
And what sort of an analyst are you?
I'm a senior crime intelligence analyst.
All right. And you work for FDLE, Florida Department of Law
Yes, sir.
Enforcement? All right. As part of your duties with FDLE or the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, do you clarify or enhance and edit videos and photographs?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. What kind of training or education have you had to do that sort of work?
If I can refer to my notes, I can tell you. I've had numerous trainings, 6 that I've gone back and referred to from FBI digital imaging and video recovery team training, Law Enforcement Video Association, 2 trainings at 40 hours each for those, digital evidence recovery training, Cognitech video enhancement training, Ocean Systems Avid video enhancement training.
All right. Now, how long have you been doing this sort of work, clarification or editing of videos or photographs?
A little over 12 years.
All right. Have you ever testified in court about videos or photographs that you may have edited or enhanced?
Not on videos, no, sir.
Okay, but photographs?
Not on photographs. I also, part of what I do is audio as well. I've testified on audio.
Oh, I see.
So.
All right. Now, how do you enhance or clarify a video or a image?
The way I approach it is to try to look to begin with what shortcomings the image or the video have, and then go from there as far as whether there's much chance of making something better or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so then after that, there's different techniques, some filters, some adjustments that can be made to the image or the video that could potentially make it a little more clear.
All right. Now, are there times where it's impossible or just you're not able to clarify a video or an image?
Yes, sir, but I would say most of the time it is.
All right. Now, I ask you that because on television, they can always enhance a video or photograph, like to get a license plate off of something. Is that possible?
I've been doing it 12 years and I've yet to get a tag, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you, in this particular case, did you receive a video from Gold Leaf Pond of a shooting incident that happened on April 20th of 2020?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. Were you able to capture images from that video?
Yes, sir, I did.
Were you able to do any sort of enhancement or clarification of those images?
I attempted a few times with a few images to zoom in on actually 2 of both subjects.
Okay.
And in a couple of instances, I tried to adjust the histogram adjustment, which sometimes brings out some details that aren't in the original image.
All right. Were you able to clarify it to where it was crystal clear?
No, sir.
Okay. I want to show you, if I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
I want to show State's Exhibit 46.
Okay.
You recognize State's Exhibit 46?
Yes, sir. Those are the images that I provided from that day.
All right. So State's Exhibit 46, which is a DVD, does it contain true and accurate still images that you enhanced or captured from the Gold Leaf Pond video on April 20th, 2020?
Yes, sir, it does.
Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 46 be entered and published.
Any objection to 46? None? All right, yes, and you may publish it. Did either of you wish instruction 2.2 to be given at this point? Yes. Members of the jury, you're about to view photographs, the court instructs you that the photographs have been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the image has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view it.
Yes, sir.
Has this image been enhanced or is it just been cropped?
The image has been cropped, and I believe that one may have been zoomed in some. I don't know absolutely for sure without seeing my notes. That one has been cropped and probably zoomed. That image is just, I believe, just a direct copy off the video itself. And the same as the previous. 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 This image is a zoom of the previous image that we just saw. It's zoomed, and the histogram has been edited to an attempt to bring out details in the image. This is a clip from the video itself. And again, that's a clip from the video itself. Another clip from the video itself. This is a zoom of that previous image that we had there. I do not believe any other adjustment was made there. And yeah, same, just from the video, clip from the video, a clip from the video, another clip from the video. This is a zoom in image and a histogram adjustment of primarily the subject in the foreground. This is a clip from the video, and another clip from the video, and another clip from the video.
All right. Did you also receive a video from an Empire pawn shop as part of your work in this case?
Yes, sir, I did.
Were you able to edit that pawn shop? Well, first let me ask you, the pawn shop videos, did they contain multiple camera angles?
Yes, there was, off the top of my head, I remember there was 5, 6, 7 different angles
All right.
available.
And now, were you able to edit the Empire pawn videos so that the multiple camera angles were in sequence and some of them could be viewed side by side?
Yes, sir. There, when I was working on that, it was difficult to try to keep an idea of what the time sequence was going on with the visit of the subjects to the Empire Pawn. And so it began as a tool of mine to try to stitch together in a timeline the videos from the different angles to document basically from the time that the subjects arrived until the time they left. And so it's kind of a timeline video compilation from the various angles that were pertinent to the visit.
All right. If I may approach.
Yes.
I want to show you States Exhibit 9B. Do you recognize States Exhibit 9B?
Yes, sir, I do.
And how do you recognize States Exhibit 9B?
It has my initials on it, and when it states that it's the video compilation, and that's what I called it.
Okay. So States Exhibit 9B, a true and accurate copy of the video compilation you edited together from the Empire Pawn video?
Yes, sir, it is.
Your Honor, I'd ask that States Exhibit 9B be entered into evidence and
Any
published.
objection? You wish the instruction given again, the 2.2? 9B is admitted.
7. Have you seen this photograph before?
Yes, sir.
All right. Were you able to do any sort of enhancements on that photograph?
No, sir.
And why is that?
It's too far away. It's too pixelated, too compressed.
All right. Okay, thank you. No more questions?
Thank you. If you'll clean your area, Mr. Weed, please. And then you may cross-examine the witness.
Good morning, sir. I'll just have a few questions.
Okay.
Enhancement depends on a number of factors, and if I'm incorrect, stop me. Type of camera that's used, the condition in which the video was made under, external factors. But a lot of it just comes down to, I think you said pixelated, it was too pixelated? Pixels, they're data, correct? And it's what the camera uses. If there's not enough there, you can't enhance it,
That's correct.
at least for maybe identification purposes.
That's correct.
In fact, if you ever measure, I believe you did some enhancements close up of the face of, well, not the face, but the image at the shoe. Did you measure how many pixels that had to determine whether it was more enhanceable or not, or it didn't matter to you? You're an expert, you can see it.
No, sir, the pixels was not of a concern. It's just the issue, especially with with some of the close-ups, was the subject was wearing a hat and the face area was very dark. And so that was how come I went with a histogram adjustment to try to brighten that up some.
But you would agree if there's less pixels, there's less chance of enhancement generally?
That's correct.
Okay. No further questions.
Well, if you'll sanitize the area there, Mr. Collins, thank you.
Put my pad down.
Understand.
Coming back.
Sure you will. Yes, absolutely. All right, redirect?
No.
None? Okay, you may step down, may this witness be excused. Do you mind, Mr. Jackson, just spraying your area there real quick, please?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Any objection to him being free to go? All right, you're free to go. Thank you, sir. Members of the jury, we're going to take a recess. We've been in session just over an hour. I have 10:05. If I can get all of you back in your seats where you're seated at, let's say, 10:20. That'll give you 15 minutes to stretch, go to the restroom, whatever else you'd like to do. Again, I'm going to continue to remind you not to have any discussions about the case with anyone, and certainly don't do any research on your own. If you want to use your phones you're welcome to do it as long as it's nothing about the case, and make sure you turn them off before you return. Any question from any juror? Any further instructions requested from counsel for the state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense? Okay. We'll be in recess in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Better cancel. That's a big one. It's a candle. Hmm.
All right, call your next witness, please.
Ashley Lassiter.
I'll get you to raise your right hand, please, to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Have a seat there, please, ma'am. If you would. If you would try to speak into the microphone, keep your voice up nice and loud. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name?
My name is Ashley Lassiter.
And how are you employed?
I work for Capital City Imports and Priceless Car Rental as
Okay.
the assistant manager.
All right, Capital City, is that a car rental place?
Capital City Imports is we are a dealership as well as a car rental place. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Are you the manager?
I am just under the general manager. Yes, I oversee all three businesses.
All right. The Capital City Imports rent out a vehicle with a license plate number NCKI44.
I believe it's NCQ I44,
I'm sorry, you're right, NCQI44.
but yes, we did.
Okay, thank you. And what kind of a vehicle is that?
It's a 2019 Nissan Sentra,
And what color?
grayish silver.
Gray silver, okay. All right. I want to show you State's Exhibit 10 if I may approach.
Yes, you may.
Yeah.
All right, do you recognize State's Exhibit 10?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is State's Exhibit 10?
It's my statement of certifying the rental contract between us and Angel Bradham.
All right, is that a true and accurate copy of the rental contract for the 2009 silver or gray Nissan with the license plate NCQI44?
It is, it's a 2019, yes.
2019? I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said 2009, but it's a
I'm sorry,
2019.
2019. All right. And does those records also include any GPS data for that vehicle?
It does, yes, sir.
All right. Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 10 be entered into evidence and published.
I'm sorry, any objection to 10?
I need to come to the door.
that qualification.
10, the exhibit number 10 will be admitted, and you may publish it to the jury.
All right. Exhibit 10, we're looking up on the screen. What is that?
That's the rental contract between us and Angela Bottom.
All right. And what was the date for this rental agreement?
They initially rented the car on March 4th and then kept extending it.
All right. Was there another person that was on the rental agreement or as a authorized driver?
There was an additional authorized driver of Tara Lowry.
Okay, Tara Lowry?
Yes.
All right. Now, has Jamar Tilley, the defendant, rented vehicles from your company before?
Yeah, his name is in our database, yes.
Okay. The address given on State's Exhibit 10, is that same or similar to any other renters that you've had before?
Yes, when we initially entered this address to initiate the contract with Miss Angel Bradham, it flagged us that it belonged to Jamar Tilley and that he was listed as a bad renter. And so we inquired as to this address. Okay.
All right. So if I understand you correctly, your database shows that the defendant Jamar Tilley has the same address as this address given in this contract?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right, thank you. Now, do the cars that you rent, do they have some sort of GPS device to track their location?
Yes, we use Gold Star GPS.
All right. And for lack of a better term, I'm going to say ping. Can you ping the location of the vehicle? In other words, activate it somehow so that it will show up the location?
Yes, we can locate a vehicle at any time.
All right. Now, does it ping automatically at any point?
It is set to ping a location about every 12 hours.
Okay. And besides those 12-hour pings, are there 12-hour notifications for location? Is there any other GPS data given in between those 12 hours?
Sometimes it will tell us when the vehicle is started, or if it's in a location like a tow yard or something like that, we receive alerts, or it will give us a indicator on the GPS tracking.
I see. But if I understand you correctly, you don't get GPS data for every minute of the
No,
day?
you don't get it for every minute. It's every 12 hours, and then if you hit locate, it will tell you.
All right. Now, did you provide the GPS data that you had for this particular vehicle to law enforcement?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was that part of the records?
Yes, sir, it's part of the records.
On Exhibit 10, and I know that's kind of hard to read, but does this show the GPS data for this vehicle?
Yes, it does.
And are the dates given between April, I know it's hard, and you have a hard copy in front of you also, but are the dates given between April 18th of 2020 and April 22nd of 2020?
Yes, sir.
All right. Does it also provide in addition to the location, the time that the ping, for lack of a better term, is given?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right. All right, thank you. No more questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Weed, and before you leave, thank you. Cross-exam, Mr.
Yes, ma'am, I don't know about this, but you do. What do the different, the chart's got different headings, date and time. I think I can figure that out. Event, location, and user. I guess user is y'all, if you want to ping to find out where the vehicle is.
That's correct.
Y'all own it, and I get that. Now, is there differences in the events, and does that affect the location?
Not, well, the difference is in, like, are you asking about where it says like locate or stipulation event?
I'm trying to make sure I don't ask a stupid question, okay? If the event says locate, I'm assuming you're trying to locate the car. And then it'll give you the location, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, if the event says stipulation event, what does that mean?
That could be that the car was turned over, the ignition was turned on, and it sent out an initial ping that this is where the car's at when it turned on.
But it would still give you the correct location.
Yes,
I wanted to look at the April 18th, 2020 at 11:54 p.m., which would have been late that night, almost midnight. The car was in Jacksonville,
that's what it says, yes, sir.
okay? And say 4/20/20 at 6:35 a.m., it appears the car is in Lake City, 6:35 a.m., right?
Yes, sir.
Do you have from this ping any locations around between noon and 1 for either Lake City or for Live Oak?
Well, the one I'm looking at for 4/20, it's actually 6:35 p.m. You're saying on 4/20, the pings that were there were for the night one, and then at 10:35, and then at 2:35 a.m. on
Right.
4/21.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure I understand, and this tells you, but these are random or is there a pattern?
It's just random.
Okay. Can you find any of these locators that place the car in Live Oak?
None of these indicate that it was in Live Oak, but like I said, it only pings every so often.
I guess it would depend on how long the car was in Live Oak.
If it was there during a time that it did an automatic ping.
But none of these place it in Live Oak.
None of these show it, no, sir.
And none of these show it around noontime or 1 o'clock in Lake City either.
On which day, sir?
What's that? I'm
On
sorry.
which day? I apologize. Or which day are you asking me about it being in Lake City between that time?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
One thing, Mr. Collins.
Thank you. Keep one on my desk.
Redirect.
And Ms. Lasser, do you get an automatic location every time the car is crunk up?
In general, it is supposed to. If it is someplace where it's getting a clear signal to send it to the satellite, in general, yes. It doesn't always work that way. It depends on if the car is covered by a lot of trees or something, it might not get the signal sent.
Or if it's not in a good area?
Yeah, because it depends on cellular service.
Right, okay. So let me ask you though, you said that there was, none of these locations showed Live Oak. The second to last from the bottom, or it was March 18th of 2020 at 9 a.m. Or I'm sorry, April 18th of 2020 at 9 a.m. isn't a location?
There is a Live Oak location, yes, sir, Ohio Avenue South. I see that now.
All right. And that's again for April 18th. I want to ask you about April 20th.
Yes, sir.
April 20th at 4:58 a.m. There's a location given for Tallahassee,
That's
correct? Okay. But then it skips up to 2:35 p.m.
Yes,
and the location is Lake City, is that correct?
it is, yes, sir.
All right. So between that time frame, we have on April 20th at around 5 in the morning, all the way to 2:35 p.m. We don't have any locations in between that time?
And that, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you, no more questions.
Any follow-up to that, Mr. Collins? No. Okay. You may step down. May this witness be excused?
Who do I give this to?
1 second. May this witness be excused?
She may, Your Honor.
Any objection? She's got the exhibit. Just lay it there, please, ma'am, and we'll
Okay.
get a hold of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Call your next witness, please. Wayne Kelly.
Judge, you want us to spray it?
Would you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
That's a little heavy, I think. The other one. You would raise your right hand, please, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a seat, please. And you may inquire.
Please state your name
David Wayne Kelly,
and your occupation.
currently the Supervisor of Investigations Division at the Suwannee County Sheriff's Office.
All right. Were you employed with the Suwannee County Sheriff's Office back on April 20th of 2020?
Yes, sir.
Were you on duty on that day?
Yes, sir.
On that date, did you respond to Gold Leaf Pond right outside of Live Oak?
Yes, sir.
And what was the reason for responding to Gold Leaf Pond on that date?
A call of a person being shot.
All right. When you got to Gold Leaf Pond, was the victim of the crime, Alan Jones, still on the scene?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to talk to him?
Yes, sir.
Did he make any statements to you about the identity of the persons that had shot him?
Yes, sir. He had told me that the person that shot him had been in the store 2 days earlier.
All right. During your investigation, did you obtain any videos from Gold Leaf Pond of the incident that happened on April 20th of 2020?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. And when did you get those videos or that video?
Directly after responding to the scene on the 20th. Once we secured the victim and then rescue got him and started, taking life-saving measures, we locked the scene down and started doing our investigation. So it was sometime during that afternoon.
All right. Did you also obtain videos from April 18th of 2020 from Gold Leaf Pond?
Yes, sir.
And why April 18th?
Just from the statement the victim made that the person was there 2 days prior, or 2 days earlier, excuse me.
All right. Did you or somebody else talk to a Travis Williams that was there at the scene?
Yes, sir.
And who is Travis Williams?
He would be a worker, employee of the Melody Christian School or Center, which is directly next door to Gold Leaf.
Did he provide you with a photograph?
Yes, sir.
All right. You recognize State's Exhibit 7?
Yes, sir. That's the image we obtained from Mr. Williams.
All right. Now, did you view the videos from Gold Leaf Pond?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the videos, did you see any images of a vehicle that was similar to this?
Yes, sir, on the 18th.
All right. I want to show you, if I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
I'll show you State's Exhibit 11. You recognize State's Exhibit 11?
Yes, sir. That's like a still photo or a screenshot from the video on April 18th at Gold Leaf.
So is State's Exhibit 11 a true and accurate screenshot from the video from Gold Leaf Pond on April 18, 2020?
Yes, sir.
All right. Your Honor, I ask that State's Exhibit 11 be entered and published.
Any objection to 11?
Yes, Your Honor, I don't think he's authorized to do the credit business. He's the person who created it. I'll say it's proper credit.
Response?
Your Honor, he's authenticating the video. The State's Exhibit or the Greenleaf video is already in evidence. He's just authenticating this as a true and accurate screenshot.
You can
from
ask him that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sustained at this point.
Is State's Exhibit 11 a true and accurate screenshot from the video on April 18th of 2020 from the Gold Leaf Pond?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, we'd ask
And that's which exhibit?
State's Exhibit 11.
No, the one that is testifying that he took that from, which exhibit?
Oh, I'm sorry. State's Exhibit 9A. I'm sorry. I was right. It's 5. State's Exhibit 5.
Okay, so the question is, did you take that screenshot from Exhibit 5? If you want to show him that one, you may, and if you did, then you can move it into evidence.
Have you viewed well, we can just go on, Your Honor. Thank you. Let me ask you, did you obtain, or let me ask you, did you talk to a Raymond Galler in this case?
Yes, sir.
All right. Does he work at Handy House Shed Place in Lake City?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you obtain any information about a vehicle from him?
Yes, sir.
Specifically, did he give you?
Sorry?
What do you got from Raymond Dollar? I don't know the conversation, I have no idea.
Overruled.
Did you obtain a license plate from Raymond Galler?
Yes, sir. I obtained a light Florida tag number.
Did you run that license plate to figure out where the vehicle
Yes, sir.
had come from? All right. And where did that lead you to?
The vehicle, the license plate provided to me came back registered to a Capital City Imports out of Tallahassee, Florida, which was a rental / car sales lot.
All right. Now, did those rental records that you were provided, did they provide any information about the location of the vehicle?
Yes, sir. From speaking with Capital City, we learned that there was a GPS unit affixed to the vehicle.
Okay. And the GPS records that you obtained from Capital City, did it show the location of the vehicle?
Yes, sir. We learned that the vehicle had a roughly a 12-hour ping, and that they could also do on-demand pings at request.
Okay. And where was the vehicle located according to the GPS?
At the time we obtained the information about the vehicle, it would have been a day or two after the incident. It showed that it had been located in Lake City, or was currently located in Lake City, Florida.
All right. Did you go to that location in Lake City, Florida?
Yes, sir.
All right. And where was that location approximately at in Lake City, Florida?
Without looking at the address, essentially the ping showed in the area of Northeast Ark Street or Place. I'm not sure if it was Street or Place, but Ark, and a road called Catawaba. And Catawaba and Ark kind of like a loop road. They kind of intersect or meet each other and turn into the other the way it's designed.
All right. So did you find a vehicle that matched the description of the vehicle you were looking for at that area?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. Did you conduct any surveillance of the vehicle in that area?
Yes, sir. Myself, Columbia County, FDLE, and U.S. Marshals all did.
Were any photographs taken during the surveillance of the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to study, if you look in front of you, States Exhibit 50 and 51. Recognize States Exhibit 50 and 51?
Yes, sir. These are photos taken of the vehicle where it's sit at the Catawaba Ark Street location.
All right. Now, how was the vehicle parked at the residence?
So the property, like I said, Ark and Catawaba kind of make a loop and come around. And the property where it was at is kind of in that curve of that loop. So there's a residence, then like a pole barn, kind of shed, storage yard area. And it was pulled up in there on that loop in the grass lot of the yard and covered with partially covered with like a car cover.
Excuse me, what?
Partially covered with like a car cover.
Oh, are you talking about like a covering, like a tarp?
No, like when you buy at a store actually for cover a vehicle or a boat or something like that.
Oh.
Like one of the gray kind of fabricy type ones.
All right. So are States Exhibit 50 and 51 true and accurate photographs of the vehicle?
Yes, sir, as it sit at the location.
All right. Your Honor, we'd ask that States Exhibit 50 and 51 be entered into evidence and
Any
published.
objection? Any objection? 50 and 51 will be admitted.
All right, what are we looking at in States Exhibit 50?
So 50 there, that's just one angle of a shot from a location off-site. The white trailer to the right of it, there's a green tree, and then the gray covering is the car. You can see the bottom of the tires there, and as you did a drive-by, you could actually see the Nissan emblem on the wheel. It's the same thing, just a different angle of the picture.
All right. So, all right. And so, when somebody, were there officers positioned around the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
All right. So when somebody did use the vehicle, did officers come in to stop the vehicle?
Yes, sir. They did a vehicle takedown.
All right. And who was apprehended in the vehicle?
The subject sitting there next to Mr. Collins.
All right. The defendant?
Yes, sir.
All right. After the vehicle was stopped, was it taken into custody?
Yes, sir. It was secured, evidence taped, sealed, and escorted by law enforcement back to the sheriff's office to be stored it was actually stored in a locked, kind of like garage area overnight.
All right. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 12 right in front of you.
Yes, sir.
You recognize State's Exhibit 12?
Yes, sir. That was the location of the car that night when the vehicle, after the picture was taken after the vehicle takedown and the apprehension.
Okay. Is State's Exhibit 12 a true and accurate photograph of the vehicle after the vehicle was taken into custody?
Yes, sir.
All right, Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 12 be entered into evidence and published.
Any objection? It'll be 12 is admitted without objection.
All right. Now, as part of your investigation in this case, did you look at the videos from Gold Leaf Pond
Yes, sir. I reviewed them. I downloaded them.
and the vehicles, and also the video from Empire Pond? Did you view that also?
Yes, sir. Myself, Investigator Frost, obtained that video as well.
Let me ask you, did you notice anything about the clothing of the black male that was in those videos?
Yes, sir. From the video on April 18th here at Gold Leaf Pond in Live Oak, comparing it to the video from April 18th at Empire Pond in Lake City, it appeared to be the same vehicle, the same two subjects, and the clothing was identical.
Okay. And when we talk about the clothing, what about the shoes?
The shoes, the subject was wearing a pair of white, looked like Adidas shoes. They were white with the black 3 hash marks like Adidas has.
All right. Did you notice any jewelry the person was wearing?
In the videos, like he had a big silver or gold color, like a big watch.
All right. Now let me ask you, during your investigation, did the name Tara Lowry come up?
Yes, sir.
And how did that come up?
Once we had identified Mr. Tilley and who he was and started obviously doing demographics on him, we learned that Miss Lowry was a close female friend or possibly a girlfriend.
And let me ask you, the rental agreement that you obtained from Capital City Pawn?
She was also on it, yes, sir.
All right. So did you obtain records of Tara Lowry's Facebook records?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. And did these records include a record certification showing their authenticity from a records custodian?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I want to show you State's Exhibit 18. You recognize State's Exhibit 18?
18A?
Well, it's
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it's State's Exhibit 18, and there's it's Composite 18, 18A, B, et cetera.
Yes, sir. That's the certification of records.
Yes, sir. And if you could look at all the pages.
Yes, sir.
All right. State's Exhibit 18A, true and accurate records that you received from Facebook and selected images from Tara Lowry's Facebook records?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 18 be entered into evidence and published.
Any objection? 18 composite exhibit is admitted without objection.
As 18A is just the certification of the records, just like you were talking about from Facebook. B identifies the account owner and what information the account owner has, and identifies it as being owned by Tara Lowry. So an 18C is an image of Tara and Mr. Tilley. Again, with that large watch on. 18D is the same thing. It's another image of Miss Lowry and Mr. Tilley and that same watch. E is, again, the same thing. You can see partial side of the watch, but it's Mr. Tilley and Miss Lowry. In F, it's just some children and Mr. Tilley. And again, he's wearing that same watch. G would be from the previous picture with Mr. Tilley and the children. It shows the comments and some information that was on the particular post, which is titled, "They Love Their Uncle Jamar," identifying, obviously, that being Mr. Tilley. H is a picture of the three pictures of Mr. Tilley and Miss Lowry, and again, it shows the watch, but it also shows a pair of Adidas shoes similar to what was used in the person worn in the incident of Gold Leaf. So I is the information showing just that him and her together, Miss Tara, Miss Lowry. Yes, sir. It shows 4/2, April 2nd, which would have been roughly 18 days prior to the incident at Gold Leaf Farm. J is some subject information which shows searches and different things for different accounts. So like if you were to search anybody's in particular name on the social media platform, and it just shows where Miss Tilley had searched Jamar Mudafi and Juvie Tilley, which we later learned were other accounts associated with Mr. Tilley. K shows that information, the Mudafi, Jamar Mudafi, the Juvie Tilley, that information.
All right, thank you. No more questions.
Can you sanitize the podium for Mr. Collins? Maybe if we left the bottle right up by the microphone, you might.
Like this.
Cross-examine Mr. Collins.
I'm assuming it's still morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
I have probably just one question, depending on how, anyway. Did you go visit the victim at the hospital in Gainesville?
Yes, sir.
At that time, was that the same day or the day after he had been shot?
No, it would have been a week, if not longer, after he had been shot.
Okay. At that time, was Mr. Tilley in custody?
I believe he was. I'd have to look at the dates, but I believe he was. Yeah, yes, sir. I know he was.
Okay.
Sorry.
Would you have possibly shown him a lineup at the hospital?
No, sir. We showed him the video from his store at the hospital.
No further questions.
Thank you. Want to clean your area too, Mr. Collins? Any redirect? That breath of yours.
My breath is, let's go.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You may step down. May he be excused? Any objection? You're free to go. Thank you. Yeah, just leave the exhibits here, please. Thank you. Call your next witness.
Ivan Brennis.
I get you to raise your, excuse me, right hand to be sworn, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Thank you. Thank you. Have a seat, please, and you may inquire.
State your name, please,
My name is Ivan Brennis.
and your occupation.
I am a crime laboratory analyst in the crime scene section for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
And what do you do as a crime scene analyst?
I respond 24/7 to crime scene callouts from outside agencies where I will go to the crime scene. I document, identify, and collect evidence.
Okay. Do you do any sort of analysis on the evidence, or do you just collect it?
I just collect it and then submit it to the laboratory.
All right. Did you respond to Gold Leaf Pond here in Suwannee County on April 20th of 2020?
Yes, I did.
All right. And what was the reason for going to Gold Leaf Pond on that date?
I was informed that there was a robbery and a shooting.
All right. And did you assist in that investigation?
Yes, I did.
All right. As part of the work that you did you take photographs of the scene at Gold Leaf Pond?
Yes.
And did you also collect items of evidence?
Yeah.
All right. I wonder if I may approach your Honor.
May.
I want to show you State's Exhibit 2334. Ask if you recognize these.
Yes, I recognize these photographs.
State's Exhibit 20 through 34, true and accurate photographs of the scene at Gold Leaf Pond on April 20th, 2020.
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, I'd ask the State's Exhibit 20 and 34 be entered into evidence and published.
20 and 34 or 23?
23, 34, sorry.
Through 30. Any objection? Exhibits 20 through 34 are admitted without objection.
First, I want to show you State's Exhibit 2, which has already been entered into evidence. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 2?
Yes, I do.
All right, what is State's Exhibit 2?
This is a photograph of the front of the pawn shop.
And State's Exhibit 3?
This is a photograph I took while standing in the doorway. It is, in the center of the photograph is a jewelry display case. It's another angle of the interior of the pawn shop showing the register counter. This is a more close-up photograph of the jewelry display case. It shows the front side of the case. Another angle of the jewelry case. This is the top side of the jewelry case.
State's Exhibit 22, what are we looking at here?
This is the area behind the register counter. On the center of the photograph are red-brown stains on the floor, and I also have placed photo marker 6 and 7.
Photo markers 6 and 7, those are the damaged cones.
Yes.
All right. State's Exhibit 23, what are you looking at there?
This is a more close-up photograph of the area behind the register counter, where I had placed photo marker 5, 6, 7, and 8.
And those photo markers, are they placed at places for some
Yes, I used photo markers to draw attention to items of evidence. This is a more close-up photograph of photo marker 6 that was behind the register counter. It is showing in the center of the photograph projectile.
Did you collect that projectile?
Yes.
Whenever you say projectile, what are we talking about?
A projectile is what comes out of the gun when it's shot.
Fire bullet.
Correct. This is another projectile, photo marker 7, that was also on the floor behind the register counter. This was a shelf that was behind the register counter, and it is photo marker 8 that shows a cartridge case. A cartridge case is what is loaded into the gun. It is what contains essentially the bullet. When the gun is fired, the bullet comes out of the barrel and the cartridge is ejected on the side.
So did you collect the cartridge case and pick it on the state exhibit 26?
Yes.
I want to show you three items, state exhibit 35, 36, and 37. So may I go?
You may.
First, you recognize state exhibit 35?
Yes, I do.
And what is state's exhibit 35?
This is a suspected projectile that was on the floor behind the register counter at photo marker number 6.
And how can you recognize state's exhibit 35 as being that same projectile that you saw at photo marker 6?
I recognize it by my handwriting on the packaging, as well as my initials on the evidence tape and the FDLE barcode.
All right. In collecting the state's exhibit 35, did you seal the envelope or packaging that it was placed in?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you secure it after you sealed it?
Yes.
All right. Now I want you to look at state's exhibit 36. Do you recognize state's exhibit 36?
Yes, I do.
And what's state's exhibit 36?
This is a suspected projectile on the floor behind the register counter at photo marker number 7.
How are you able to recognize state's exhibit 36 as being the same projectile in photo marker 7?
By my handwriting on the description of the evidence, as well as my initials on the tape and the FDLE barcode.
All right. Now I want you to take a look at state's exhibit 37. What is state's exhibit 37?
This is a cartridge case from the register counter at photo marker number 8.
All right. How are you able to recognize state's exhibit 37 as being the cartridge case from photo marker 8?
I recognize it from my handwriting on the description and the HC case number, as well as my initials on the evidence tape.
All right. 27 up on the screen. What are we looking at in state's exhibit 27?
This is another area behind the register counter. It shows a knocked over bar stool, as well as photo markers 9, 10, and 11 that I had placed. This is an area near the fireplace that was behind the register counter. It shows photo marker number 9, which is a cartridge case.
All right. Did you collect that cartridge case?
Yes.
Did you put it in an envelope or some kind of container?
Yes, I did.
Did you seal it?
Yes.
I want to show you state's exhibit 38. I may approach.
Yes.
What is state's exhibit 38?
This is the cartridge case bearing head stamp RP 9mm Luger from the fireplace behind the register counter at photo marker number 9.
All right. How can you recognize state's exhibit 38 as being the case that you collected from photo marker 9?
I recognize it from my handwriting of the description, as well as my initials on the evidence tape and the FDLE barcode.
Next, I want to show you state's exhibit 29. What are we looking at in state's exhibit 29?
This is a cartridge case that was on the floor behind the register counter, and I had placed photo marker number 10.
All right. Did you collect that cartridge casing?
Yes.
Did you place it in an envelope and seal the envelope?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you label the envelope?
Yes.
Want to show you State's Exhibit 39? Recognize State's Exhibit 39?
Yes, I do. This is a cartridge case from the floor behind the register counter at photo marker number 10.
All right. How are you able to recognize State's Exhibit 39?
I recognize it from my handwriting of the description, as well as my initials on the evidence tape and the FDLE barcode.
Finally, State's Exhibit 30. What are we looking at?
This is another cartridge case that was behind the register counter on the floor. I marked it as photo marker number 9, or sorry, photo marker number 11.
Okay. Did you collect that cartridge casing?
Yes, I did.
You placed it in an envelope?
Yes.
Seal it?
Yes.
Label it?
Yes.
Okay. Want to show you State's Exhibit 40? You recognize State's Exhibit 40?
Yes, I do.
What is State's Exhibit 40?
This is a cartridge case from the floor behind the register counter at photo marker 11.
All right. And how were you able to recognize State's Exhibit 40 as being the shell casing at photo marker 11?
I recognize it from my handwriting as well as my initials on the evidence tape and the barcode.
Your Honor, I ask that State's Exhibit 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 be entered into evidence.
Any objection? 35 through 40 will be admitted without objection.
This is a photograph of the outside of the pawn shop. It shows a ramp in the center of the photograph that leads to the entrance. I believe that is a rock that's holding crime scene tape that was placed by law enforcement officers besides me. That was a piece of jewelry. I believe it was a ring that was on the ground outside of the pawn shop. This is another angle of the entrance to the pawn shop. It shows on the bottom of the photograph area of the parking lot, and then in the top of the photograph is the pawn shop. This is a close-up of a ring with a price tag that was on the ground near the parking lot of the pawn shop.
All right, now, in addition to the pawn shop, did you process any other scenes in this case?
I did process a Nissan Sentra vehicle.
All right, and where was that Nissan Sentra vehicle located when you processed it?
It was located at the Suwannee County Sheriff's Office. It was one of their buildings located at 1902 Duval Street in Live Oak.
All right, and what date was that you processed the vehicle?
April 23rd, 2020.
All right. The vehicle that you processed, did it have a license plate number?
Yes.
What was the license plate number?
It was a Florida license plate, number NCQI44.
All right. Was the vehicle sealed before you processed it?
Yes,
Did you photograph the vehicle before you processed the vehicle?
I did.
I want to show you State's Exhibit 52. It's in front of you.
52?
52. Should be at the very end.
Okay.
You recognize State's Exhibit 52?
Yes, I do.
And what is State's Exhibit 52 a photograph of?
This is the Nissan vehicle that I processed.
All right. Is that a true and accurate photograph of the Nissan that you processed?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 52 be entered into evidence and published.
Any objection? 52 is admitted.
All right. Now, in processing the vehicle depicted in State's Exhibit 52, did you try to obtain possible samples of DNA?
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, first of all, what is touch DNA?
Touch DNA is DNA that is left over when someone touches a surface with their fingers, usually left over by sweat or oils on their skin.
All right. So how do you get touch DNA from an object or collect touch DNA?
I use a sterile swab and drop a drop of sterile water onto the swab, and then I rub the area with that swab.
All right. Did you attempt to, or did you collect samples of touch DNA from State's Exhibit 52?
I did.
From any particular part of the vehicle?
I did the door handles on the interior and exterior, and I also did steering wheel swabs and also the gear shift.
I want to show you State's Exhibit 43.
Yes.
While I'm at it, let me just hand you this out. Yeah, let me hand you both of these. You recognize State's Exhibit 43?
Yes, I do.
And how are you able to recognize State's Exhibit 43?
From my handwriting on the description as well as my initials on the evidence tape.
All right, so what is State's Exhibit 43?
This is a swab for touch DNA from the steering wheel of the Nissan Sentra.
All right. And I want to show you State's Exhibit 45. What is State's Exhibit 45?
This is a piece of a cigarillo from under the front passenger seat of the Sentra.
What is a cigarillo?
It is a brown piece of material, like a plant leaf material that is used to create a cigarette or a cigar.
Yeah. Now, how are you able to recognize State's Exhibit 45 as being the cigarillo from the vehicle that you processed?
I recognize it from my handwriting as well as my initials on the evidence tape.
All right. So both State's Exhibit 43 and 45, did you seal both items?
Yes, I did.
All right. And did you secure both items?
Yes.
Did you send them to the evidence section?
Yes, I sent them to the evidence section and to be analyzed by biology.
All right. All right, thank you. No more questions.
Well, before you leave, thank you. Cross-examine, Mr. Collins.
Did you find anything else that you haven't talked about in the processing of the crime scene or the vehicle?
Yes, there are other items I did collect.
And did you submit them for lab testing or anything like that?
I submitted some items for latent print processing as well as other items for biology.
Why did you collect them? If you would tell the jury what other items you collected.
From the pawn shop scene, I had collected
Just the vehicle, I'm sorry.
just the vehicle?
Yes,
Okay.
that's my fault. Just want to know about the vehicle.
From the vehicle, I had collected a car cover, some coins throughout the vehicle, multiple cards and receipts, some other wrappers for other cigarillos, car wash freshener, and some other various cards.
Did you look at the receipts to see what stores they were in and whether or not there was a time or a date?
I did.
And did you give them to a detective or somebody like that?
I provided photographs of the receipts to investigators.
After you did that, did you ever get any calls or anything back from investigators regarding those matters?
No, I did not.
Is that all that you found in the car that you hadn't talked about already?
Yes.
Further question?
All right, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you may step down, thank you. May this witness be excused? Very well, we've been in session just at an hour. We're going to take a short recess before we hear from the next witness. Members of the jury, again, the same admonishment will continue. Just a reminder not to discuss it, form any opinions about it. We'll limit this recess to 10 minutes. If I can get y'all back here at 11:25, according to my watch here. Any questions from anyone before we do so? All right. Remember the admonishment I've given you. And we'll be in recess 10 minutes.
Well, I would just think you could do that.
That would be one.
can't, yeah, I don't know. I have a scenario where one will reserve, yeah, reservation. But, yeah, you can't argue, but. Right. I understand. Chris, Shanika? No, I wasn't even thinking about it. But I don't remember.
All right, call your next witness, please.
Martin Lee.
If I get you to raise your right hand, please, to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And you may inquire.
Please state your name
Martin Lee.
and your occupation.
I'm a sergeant with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been so employed?
10 years.
Okay. I want to take you back to April 22nd of 2020. Were you working at that time?
Yes, I was.
All right. Did you participate in the surveillance of a vehicle in Lake City on that date?
Yes, I did.
And where was that surveillance, or where was the location of the vehicle?
So I believe the vehicle was located off of Catawba or Aggie in that general location in Lake City.
All right. And what kind of a vehicle was it?
I don't recall what the vehicle itself was. It was a gray sedan.
All right. Well, I want to show you States Exhibit 52 is up on the screen. Do you recognize that vehicle?
Yes, I do.
And is that the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
All right. So going back to April 22nd of 2020, was the vehicle being observed at a particular residence?
It was being surveillance at a particular residence up on a tarp.
Okay. I'm sorry, what?
A tarp.
Oh, it was
Covering the vehicle.
okay. Now, during the surveillance, did somebody eventually get inside the vehicle?
At some point in time, the surveillance unit that was actually watching the vehicle indicated that someone had approached the vehicle and the vehicle was being moved.
Okay. At that point, did you drive by any particular place?
I didn't drive by at that particular time. We were just notified that the vehicle was no longer covered and it was out by the roadway. Later on, at some point in time, the surveillance unit noticed that there was someone actually in the vehicle. They noticed there was a black male inside the vehicle. And at that point in time is when I did conduct a drive-by.
Okay. And did you drive by the vehicle?
I did.
And what did you observe inside the vehicle?
Inside the vehicle was a black male that was seated in the vehicle. The driver's door was open and the interior light was on in the vehicle. And I noticed the black male seated in the vehicle.
You noticed the black male in the vehicle?
Yes.
And what do you mean by that?
There was a black male inside the vehicle. It appeared that he was looking at paperwork. He had something in his hand. It looked like it was paperwork that he was looking at. And once I noticed the driver in the vehicle, we already had a suspect that we was looking for, and I identified that to be the person that we was actually looking for at the time.
And who is that person?
Last name was Tilly. I think the first name was Jerome, maybe?
Jamar?
Jamar. I'm sorry, Jamar.
All right. Thank you. No more questions.
Cross-exam? Mr. Wee.
No, sorry.
Hi. I just want to be clear to make sure I understand what you said. You saw that vehicle in Lake City, and obviously you had said at one time the cover was on it.
So I never seen the vehicle itself. The surveillance team advised that the vehicle was located at that location and there was a tarp or something covering the vehicle.
But did you see, was this vehicle occupied by a white male and a black male at some time?
No, I never seen a white male at all in the vehicle.
Okay, well, was there a white male around the vehicle?
I never seen a white male around the vehicle.
Okay, I thought I might have misunderstood you. No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
And may this witness be excused? You may step down. Thank you. You're free to go. Any objection? No. Okay. Call your next witness.
Chris
Right.
Frost. Chris Frost.
Chris Frost. So raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Thank you.
Please state your name
My full name is Christopher Kyle Frost.
and your occupation.
I'm a investigator with the Suwannee County Sheriff's Office.
Did you assist in the investigation of a shooting that happened at Gold Leaf Pond on April 20th of 2020?
Yes, I did.
And as part of your part in the investigation, did you obtain DNA samples from certain individuals?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you obtain a DNA sample from the defendant Jamar Tilley?
Yes, I did.
Did you obtain a DNA sample from Victoria Fender?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. Now, how do you obtain DNA samples from a person?
You use it's called a buccal swab sample. It's a sterile cotton swab similar to a Q-tip. It's prepackaged. Each package contains 2 swabs. You take the swab and you basically rub the interior portions of a subject's mouth to obtain DNA sample.
All right. And is that the same process you used to obtain a DNA sample from Jamar Tilley, the defendant?
Yes, sir, it is.
And from Victoria Fender?
Yes.
All right. Now, after you basically get the swab in their mouths and do whatever, what do you do with the Q-tip swab?
They are placed into a brand new cardboard box specifically for storage of the sample.
All right. And that cardboard box, is it then put in something else?
The cardboard box itself is sealed, initialed, and then placed into a brown Sheriff's Office evidence paper bag, and that is also sealed and labeled.
All right. I want to show you, if I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
I want to show you States Exhibit 48 and 49. And ask if you recognize those items?
Yes, I do.
All right. First begin with States Exhibit 48. How do you recognize States Exhibit 48?
This is the sample for Miss Victoria Fender.
All right. And how were you able to recognize States Exhibit 48 as being the sample you took from Victoria Fender?
I have it labeled on the Sheriff's Office evidence label.
All right. So States
With
Exhibit
her name.
48, I'm sorry. So is States Exhibit 48 the same buccal swab DNA sample that you obtained from Victoria Fender?
Yes, sir.
Now I want you to look at States Exhibit 49. Are you able to recognize States Exhibit 49?
Yes, sir, I do.
And how are you able to recognize States Exhibit 49?
It's labeled with Mr. Jamar Tilley's name, sample on the evidence label.
All right. And is States Exhibit 49 the same buccal swab that you got and DNA sample you got from the defendant Jamar Tilley?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. No more questions.
All right. Any cross-examination? Okay, thank you. You may step down. May this witness be.
You may.
Ready to go? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Call your next witness.
Tanika White.
Tanika White. Would you raise your right hand, please, to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Say help you God. Thank you. If you'd have a seat in our witness stand, please.
DNA testing process.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand it last.
And perform the DNA testing process.
Okay. All right. And how long have you been doing this sort of work?
About 4 years.
All right. And can you tell us your education, a little bit about your educational background to do this type of work?
I received a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of West Florida.
All right. And if you have any specialized training in DNA analysis?
Yes, through FDLE, I completed a training program.
Okay. And do you stay abreast of current issues regarding DNA analysis?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever testified in court before?
Yes, I have.
And when you testified in court before, was that relating to DNA analysis that you've done?
This is my first opportunity to testify in forensic DNA analysis. I have testified 3 times for forensic serology.
All right, thank you. Your Honor, I submit the witness for voir dire as to qualifications.
Do you wish to question the witness? Okay, very well.
All right, Ms. White, I want to show you State's Exhibit 48, which is right in front of you. It's one of the brown paper bags. All right. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 48?
I do.
And what is State's Exhibit, or how do you recognize State's Exhibit 48?
I recognize it by the unique FGLE label, as well as my initials and date.
All right. And what is State's Exhibit 48?
It says buccal swabs from Victoria Fender.
All right. And how did this come into your possession before for you to recognize your initials on it? Like, where did you receive it?
I received it from our evidence section at FDLE.
All right. Was it sealed whenever you received it?
Yes, it was.
All right. Did you do any sort of analysis or test on this exhibit?
I did the DNA testing process on that item.
All right. And what was your finding, or please explain your findings?
The DNA testing process, can I explain that?
Sure.
Okay. It's a 4-step process where I take a sample, put it in a tube to extract the sample to release the DNA. I then will determine how much DNA is in that sample. I will make copies of the DNA, and then I will get a printout of that DNA profile. For this particular sample, the local swab from Victoria Fender, I received a complete DNA profile, which was her reference standard.
All right. Now I want to show you State's Exhibit 49.
Okay.
Do you recognize State's Exhibit 49?
I do.
And how were you able to recognize it?
The unique FGLE case number, my initials, and the date.
All right. And what is State's Exhibit 49?
Buccal swabs from Jamar Tilley.
All right. And when you received these items, or that item, was it sealed?
It was.
All right. Did you analyze or test this exhibit?
I did.
And if you could, please explain your findings.
A complete DNA profile.
All right. A DNA profile, and we'll just refer to a DNA profile for Jamar Tilley.
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 48 and 49 be entered into evidence.
Any objection? 48 and 49 are admitted.
Now I want to show you State's Exhibit 43, which is in front of you.
Okay.
All right. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 43?
I do.
And how do you recognize it?
The unique FGLE label, my initials.
All right. And what is State's Exhibit 43?
Swab from touch DNA from a steering wheel of the Nissan Sentra.
All right. And when you received this item, was it sealed?
It was.
Did you analyze or test this exhibit?
I did.
And please explain your findings.
May I refer to my notes?
Yes.
For item 23, I obtained a mixture of 4 individuals and at least 1 male individual.
All right. And you just said item 23, is that the FDLE reference number?
Correct.
All right, but for for our purposes, Exhibit 43, is that the same item?
Yes, State's Exhibit number 43.
All right. And I'm sorry, you said there was a mixture?
Correct, a mixture.
All right. And what is a mixture, basically?
So if I can back up, when I analyze items of evidence, I am trying to develop a DNA profile. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It is the genetic blueprint that makes each of us unique. Each of us get half of our DNA from our mom, half from our dad. So it makes each one of us unique. I would not expect individuals to have the exact same DNA pattern except for identical siblings, such as twins or triplets. Therefore, DNA is used to individualize individuals. The complete DNA profile from the reference standard, when I look at my electropherogram, which is the printout of the DNA profile, I expect to see only 1 or 2 DNA types at the locations that I analyze. If I see a mixture, that means that I see more than 1 or 2 DNA types at those locations.
All right. So were you able to obtain a DNA profile from State's Exhibit 43?
Yes, a mixture of at least 4 individuals.
All right. Did you compare that, the DNA profiles within that mixture with that of the DNA profile you developed for Jamar Tilley?
Yes, I did.
And what were your results?
The DNA results were that it was a mixture for individuals. Jamar Tilley is included as a contributor. We report a likelihood ratio statistic. I report statistics if I get an inclusion or a match. And an inclusion is when that individual is, when I see their DNA types in a mixture. A match would be if I obtain a complete profile from an item of evidence versus if I have a mixture. So for State's Exhibit 43, it was a mixture. I compared Mr. Tilley's DNA profile to that mixture. I visually observed his DNA types present in the mixture. I calculated a statistic called a likelihood ratio, which compares the observed, how many more times likely it is to see his DNA profile in the item of evidence versus the DNA profile from an unrelated individual. And the calculation for the likelihood ratio was approximately 250 million times more likely to occur if the sample originated from Mr. Tilley than 4 unrelated individuals.
All right. So let me ask you, the item such as the item we're talking about here, a steering wheel, if it is touched by more than one person, is that the reason that you may see a mixture?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. But if I understood you correctly, the mixture of DNA that you, that was obtained from the steering wheel, the defendant or Jamar Tilley's DNA was amongst that mixture?
That is correct.
I got that correct?
That is correct. I visually observed his DNA types in that mixture.
And let me ask you, if somebody's wearing gloves, and if they touch an item, would they leave DNA behind?
That's not probable, no.
Okay. Is that because the gloves would cover your skin?
Correct.
Okay. Now I want to show you State's Exhibit 45.
Okay.
Do you recognize State's Exhibit 45?
I do.
And how do you recognize it?
The unique FGLE case number and my initials, and the seals.
All right. And what is State's Exhibit 45?
It's a cigarillo that was found in the vehicle.
All right. Did you analyze this item?
I did.
Did you, were you able to obtain a DNA profile from this cigarillo?
I did. I was able to obtain a complete DNA profile. Complete meaning that at all of the areas that I examined in my testing, there was information at all of those areas.
All right. And the DNA profile that you obtained from the cigarillo, did you compare it with the DNA profile you got for Victoria Fender?
I did.
And what were your results?
The DNA profile obtained from the cigarillo matched Victoria Fender. And I calculated a statistic to give weight to that match. And the observed DNA profile was greater than 700 billion times more likely to occur if the sample originated from Victoria Fender than from an unrelated individual.
All right. Okay, thank you. No more questions. Your Honor, I'd ask that States Exhibit 43 and 45 be entered into evidence.
43 and 45, any objection? Each and both are admitted. Cross-examined.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You only received, if I understand correctly, buccal swabs for Mr. Tilley and Miss Pender, correct?
That is correct.
The steering wheel mixture that you found, you were only able to say Mr. Tilley's DNA was in a mixture, or DNA like his was in a mixture, but you could not make a clear match, correct?
So for mixtures, the statistic that we report is an inclusion. A match would be reported if there is a single source profile. Single source meaning there's only one donor to the profile. So for agency exhibit 45, the cigarillo, the match that I reported is a single source match. The inclusion that I reported for the mixture for Mr. Tilley, excuse me, is a inclusion statistic.
And if I heard you correctly, there were 3 other DNAs in the mixture? Or did I might have heard you wrong.
I obtained a mixture of at least 4 individuals.
Okay. And you were given, again, 2 buccal swabs of Pender and Mr. Tilley to match.
That is correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
Well, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
And may this witness be excused?
He may be excused.
Any objection? No objection? No. Okay. You're excused and free to go. Thank you, ma'am. And it is now very close to noon here. Your next witness will be whom? Your next witness will be who? Whom?
Victoria Fender.
Okay, I assume that might take a few minutes, so.
Take a while, Your Honor.
Okay, members of the jury, we're going to go ahead and take a recess. It's a couple minutes early, before noon, but instead of interrupting the next witness, we're going to go ahead and recess now for our lunch break. A reminder to not discuss the case, don't form any opinions about it, don't look up anything on the internet or communication whatsoever about it, no maps or anything like that, no investigations whatsoever. Don't visit any of the places mentioned in the evidence up to this point. And we want you back here in exactly the same frame of mind as you are now when we do reconvene. In fact, Mr. Weed, if I can get you, Mr. Weed, if I can get you to move a little bit, they're having a little bit of trouble seeing and hearing me. Thank you. Anyway, no investigation, the same admonishment will continue. If I can get all of you back here, let's say at 1:15, that should give us plenty of time for lunch, just over an hour. You can go wherever you want for lunch. If you do go to a restaurant or something, make sure you wear your jury badge, and don't let anyone discuss the case in your presence as well. Do any of you have any questions before we take our lunch break? Any further requested instructions from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Vince? All right, we'll be in recess until 1:15, and we'll remain here for a few minutes after the jury departs. The rest of us, please.
Sorry, I can't hear you. That we haven't given to you?
Ross was number 10.
Oh, yes, they're over here.
Lee was 9.
Yes, should be first up.